If your baby wakes up overnight like, "Hi, it's me again, I'm starving," and then takes 3 polite sips like they're sampling a wine flight, you're not crazy for wondering what's going on. Because some night wakes are true hunger. And some night wakes are more like a very committed midnight routine. Your baby is running like a CEO. Hi, I'm Treasure, and I help exhausted, overwhelmed parents make baby sleep make sense with a calm, real-life plan that fits your baby and your values. Let's start with the most important truth. Your baby can be waking for food and also waking out of habit. Those two things can be true in the same tiny body. And here's the myth I want to gently throw away. If your baby wakes to eat, that does not mean you broke them, and it does not mean your baby is manipulating you. It means something is reinforcing that wake. Now, let's talk about what true hunger usually looks like. It's not about whether your baby wakes, it's about what happens when they wake. When it's hunger, the feed looks purposeful. They take a full feed, they're actively swallowing, and they settle more easily afterward. When it's more habit or comfort, the feed looks like snacking. A few minutes, a few sips, lots of dozing, or they pop off and still want extra soothing anyway. Here's what's actually going on under the surface. Overnight waking is almost always a blend of biology, timing, and learned patterns. One pattern is daytime intake is not quite meeting needs. This can happen if your baby is distracted during feeds, daycare bottles are smaller than you think, solids are filling the tank without enough milk, or a busy schedule makes daytime feeds rushed. Another pattern is sleep pressure and timing are off. If your baby is overtired, they can wake more often and settle poorly. If they're undertired, they can wake ready to party and then use feeding as the fastest way back to sleep. Another pattern is the feed has become the main back to sleep button. Your baby wakes between sleep cycles, realizes they're fully awake, and their brain goes, "Oh, I know what we do now." And for some babies who are sensory sensitive, feeding can be regulating even when they are not truly hungry. Sucking can calm the nervous system, so it becomes a powerful comfort tool overnight. Now let me give you the quick reality check that saves parents weeks of spiraling. You don't have to guess this based on vibes alone. Look at the pattern across 3 things: what your baby does in the daytime, what the feed looks like at night, and how quickly they resettle without it. If daytime feeds are solid and your pediatrician is happy with growth, you have a lot more flexibility. If growth or intake is uncertain, we protect feeding first and adjust sleep second. If your baby wakes at the exact same time every night, that often points to habit plus body clock. If the wake times are all over the place, that often points to schedule, overtiredness, or a strong sleep association. If the first stretch of sleep is short and you get awake about 45 minutes after bedtime, that's usually not hunger. That's often a bedtime timing issue or a how they fell asleep is how they want to fall back asleep issue. Now let's talk about what helps, starting tonight. This is the fewest moves plan because you don't need a full protocol to get traction. First, protect daytime calories in the simplest way possible. Don't add a bunch of complicated math, just make feeds calmer, more intentional, and less distracted for a few days. Your baby gets distracted, feed in a darker, quieter space. If daycare intake is a question mark, ask what actually went into your baby, not what was offered. At bedtime, give a full feed as part of the routine, but try not to make it the final moment of sleep. You're aiming for fed and sleepy without a sleep on the nipple or bottle every single night. By the way, if you want a calm plan that lays all of this out in a way your tired brain can follow, download my free guide, The Modern Parent Sleep Roadmap, the guide I wish I had at 2 a.m. The link is in the video description and on the screen. Now here's the part that most parents skip, and it's why they stay stuck. You need a consistent rule for how you respond overnight so your baby isn't getting a different answer every night. If you decide every wake is hunger, your baby learns to wake for it. If you decide no wake is hunger, you'll feel panicky and you'll quit when your baby hits a rough night. So instead, choose a middle ground that fits your baby. A simple "we feed at these wakes and we soothe first at the others" approach is often the least stressful. You can make it even simpler by watching the quality of the feed. If your baby takes a real feed, great. If it's a snack, you start gently shrinking that snack. And shrinking can look like less time nursing, or a smaller bottle, or taking the edge off with soothing first. Not harsh, not dramatic, just consistent. Here's a big clarity moment for a lot of professional parents. If you are the default parent overnight, your baby may be waking as much for you as for the milk. Not because your baby is doing something wrong, because you're safe, you smell like comfort, and you've been the fastest route back to sleep. If you have a partner, one of the most effective experiments is having your partner respond to one wake for a few nights. Same soothing, same calm, just a different person. If you're doing this solo, you're not behind. We just make the plan even more gentle and realistic, because you need something you can actually sustain. Now, I want to address the fear that keeps parents stuck in this loop. What if my baby is actually hungry and I mess this up? Let's be calm and specific. If you're ever worried about weight gain, hydration, persistent vomiting, signs of illness, or your baby is unusually sleepy or hard to wake, contact your pediatrician. If your baby is in the newborn phase and feeding frequently overnight, that can be completely normal. Newborn sleep is not a habit problem, it's a feeding and development season. And if your baby has medical factors like reflux concerns, prematurity history, or feeding challenges, you absolutely want guidance that protects feeding while you improve sleep. That's not weakness, that's smart. Now let me show you the difference between hunger waking and habit waking in a way you can actually feel. Hunger wakes tend to ramp up and feel urgent. Habit wakes can feel more like, "Hi, I'm awake, can we do our thing now?" Habit wakes also tend to settle quickly if you change the pattern consistently. Hunger wakes do not magically disappear when you swap the order. They stay intense until needs are met. So if you soothe first and your baby settles within a few minutes, that wake was likely not urgent hunger. If you soothe first and your baby escalates hard and stays escalated, that might be a true feed need or a strong association that needs a more supported plan. Now, a quick word about the trap that makes this worse. The trap is when daytime is chaotic and bedtime is late, so your baby is overtired, and then every wake feels like hunger because everyone is desperate. If your evenings are messy, your baby wakes more and you feed more, and then your baby eats less in the daytime. And now you've got a perfect little loop. The fastest way out is usually earlier, more consistent bedtime for a short stretch, plus protected daytime feeds. Not a million changes, just 2 anchors. And now I'm going to tell you something that might feel annoyingly simple, but it's the difference between guessing and knowing. Pick one small change and hold it steady for several nights. When parents change the response every night, they never get a clear signal. When you stay consistent, your baby's pattern tells you the truth. And here's when I'd stop guessing and get extra support. If your baby is waking multiple times a night and you can't tell what's hunger versus habit, you're exhausted and work is getting hit, you don't need more willpower. You need a personalized plan. I have a master's in social work. I'm a certified pediatric sleep consultant, and I'm the CEO of Rested and Renewed Pediatric Sleep Consulting. If you want a clear, gentle plan tailored to your baby and your real schedule, you can book a consultation with me and we'll map out exactly what to do without the panic. And if you're not ready to book, start with my free sleep roadmap and use it as your calm baseline. Now let's close the loop with one last truth that makes parents breathe again. You don't have to choose between feeding your baby and improving sleep. You can protect nutrition and still reduce unnecessary wakes. You can keep night feeds that are truly needed and gently remove the ones that are just keeping everyone stuck. If you're thinking, okay, but what do I do when my baby wakes and I'm half asleep and my brain is mush? That's exactly what we're going to make easy next. Because the next layer of clarity is what stops the nightly second guessing and turns your nights into something predictable again. Tap the screen to watch my next video.
Before you go, download Treasure's free guide, hit subscribe, and watch the next one. You'll be so glad you did.